Welcome back to the channel, everyone. I'm Patrick.
And I'm Andy.
We just got back from a trip to California and visited Disneyland for the first time ever. And today we're giving you the top 10 reasons Disneyland is way better than Disney World.
Now, before you send us that hate mail, we are doing another video called 10 Reasons Why Disney World is Better Than Disneyland.
We all know that vacation time is limited, so make sure you watch both videos to see which one is actually better for you and your family.
And before we go any further, we're on an adventure to visit every single Disney park in the world in 1 year.
So make sure you're subscribed so you don't miss any of those adventures. It's totally free and it really helps us grow.
Now, the first reason on our list is the rides. Some of the rides at Disneyland are way better than their counterpart at Disney World. We found the rides at Disneyland to be far better themed and just a little bit more thrilling.
So a few of the rides that are similar from Disneyland to Disney World is Cars in California Adventure compared to Test Track at Epcot in Disney World. We found the Cars ride to be much better themed and just an overall better experience. The theming is next level on Indiana Jones, and we can't wait for that retheme in Animal Kingdom.
We also found some of the classics like Pirates of the Caribbean and It's a Small World to be much better in Disneyland versus Disney World. And this might be because Walt Disney had his own hand in ensuring that these rides were built to his vision.
This is what we call New Orleans Square. And here's a picture of it from the riverfront as it will look when it's finally finished.
Number 2, sticking on themes of rides, there's just more rides in general at both Disney California Adventure and Disneyland Resort. That's because they have space limitations, and instead of filling it with a lot of shows, they actually chose to stick with rides.
And a great example of this is you only need to pay for one admission to go to Disneyland and also experience Galaxy's Edge. Whereas in Disney World, you would have to get a ticket for Magic Kingdom and then do a park hopper or go on a separate day to Hollywood Studios to explore Galaxy's Edge. Number 3 on our list, convenience. Because Disneyland is so compact, you can literally walk everywhere. You can go from your hotel to downtown Disney, hotel to hotel, hotel to the Disney parks. In fact, the Grand Californian Hotel is actually connected to Disney's California Adventure. Plus, if you're looking to park hop, all you have to do is cross the street from one park to the other. You don't need to jump on a monorail or a boat or a bus. It's that simple.
Number 4, something you don't really see at Disney World, but you really see at Disneyland is characters free roaming. So we noticed as soon as we entered the park, the first day we got there, you see characters in Avengers Campus, Pixar Pier, and we even got to see the Mad Hatter and Alice riding the teacups early in the morning at Disneyland, which was a super cool experience.
I love how informal this is versus at Disney World, you have to line up for 20 minutes to an hour.
So we were walking toward Fantasyland, and then all of a sudden we saw Captain Hook and Peter Pan walking around. Not something you see every day at Disney World.
Number 5 on our list. Have you ever gone to Disney World and you see the cutest Disney sweater and you wish you could wear that at the park? Well, you really can't do that in Florida because it's humid, it's hot, and it's really not made for that weather. But when you're on the West Coast, the weather is fantastic. It's not too hot, it's not too cold. You can wear a t-shirt during the day and a sweater at night. And at the end of a 12-hour park day, you don't feel icky and sticky from all your sweat. So we thought that the weather was amazing during our time there, and we find it much more accommodating than the weather in Florida.
Hands down, this is the best day of my life, and quite possibly the last.
Number 6. Disney tends to test their new innovations at Disneyland before they go live at Disney World. So one of the really cool things we got to see while we were at Disneyland was the droids walking around Galaxy's Edge.
It was definitely one of the highlights of the trip, seeing this new tech and innovation before most people in Florida have ever seen it. There was a moment where we caught the droid malfunctioning. So it was still really cool for us to see that kind of like behind the scenes, if you will.
It was kind of upsetting for the little kids who were around and saw this droid collapse, and it literally looked like it died, and they had to rush it to the backstage area to fix it. So, I mean, it was kind of funny. Traumatic for that child who was screaming.
The droid short-circuited.
So number 7, Disneyland is far less complicated to plan a trip to. Because it's a local park and there's only 2 and it's right across the street from one another and the hotels are right in the vicinity and there's not a lot of hotels to choose from, planning a trip there is far simpler than Disney World. Like we've said in other videos, Disney World is the size of San Francisco and there's a ton of transportation options. The parks are really not close to each other at all, so it takes a lot of planning. And there's a lot of additional add-ons that come with a Disney World vacation when you're in the park. So we found that Disneyland was a lot more chill in that regard, and there was really no planning necessary. You can just show up and kind of have the day that you want. Whereas with Disney World, because it's so vast and because there's so much to see, there's so many shows, it really takes a detailed plan, especially if you're not there for long.
This was one of the first vacations where we didn't have to wake up at 7 a.m. to book a lightning lane. We didn't have to worry really about Genie Plus and like its complexities, even though there is a Genie Plus there. Like we just showed up to Disney's California Adventure and just had a day there without really looking at our phones or really thinking too far ahead. That was a really great part about visiting Disneyland and DCA in general. Number 8 on our list. As we mentioned before, Disneyland is much more compact than Disney World. So that means when you're in the park itself, you're going to be doing a lot less walking. When we go to Disney World, we average about 20 to 30,000 steps per day. Whereas at Disneyland, we probably did about 15,000 on average per day.
Because the parks are so compact, it is going to feel a lot more crowded than Disney World just because of the size restrictions. A lot of queues are outdoors, meaning there's less space on the walkways. Number 9, the ride photos are actually included. This is a small thing, but it was really nice to discover when we were there, something we didn't know when we got to Disneyland Resort. So as long as you're tapping your phone or your Magic Band, they are totally free of charge. Whereas in Walt Disney World, you have to buy Genie Plus to have those photos added on for free. So that was just a really nice touch.
Number 10 on our list is the overall vibe you'll get at Disneyland. Yes, the castle may be smaller than the one at Disney World, but it really reminds you of what Walt Disney built from scratch. This was what he dreamt up, this is what he physically built at the park, and it really reminds you of the nostalgia for a simpler time in the world.
We actually visited his office in Burbank and we saw the massive picture that's on his wall of Disneyland and the plans he had, and there's just a lot of history. And then even for Disney's California Adventure, although it's a new park, you still get that down-home carnival type feeling to it.
I really compare it to other parks today where you can tell a corporation has put a lot of time and thought into developing it, and it almost has that lack of a soul to it, versus when you step into this park, you can tell it's not perfect, but you can tell a lot of heart, time, and effort went into building this park.
And there you have it. Disneyland is way better than Disney World. Until you watch the next video. Again, you're going to have to make the decision for your family and which one works best for you, but hopefully this gave you a little bit of insights into why we think Disneyland is amazing.
Now we want to hear from you. Which park is your favorite? Disneyland, Disney World? Comment down below and let us know.
And with that, we'll see you on the next one.
Bye.